I'm a contemporary impressionist painter. I paint mainly in oils, and I take a lot of walks and hikes outside and try to find the spirited place. And it inspires me to paint moving skies and moving water, and just how light kind of affects all the elements of nature. And I find myself trying to catch the light, and I often like to do landscapes that are either early in the morning or late at night. And I'm really inspired by how the color keeps changing and the sun setting and creating beautiful transitions of colors, and I'm trying to catch that moment while I'm out there. This week the skies were amazing, and I found myself so inspired I had to get out and paint. And so I ran out, went to a ranch, kind of said hello to the horses and the llamas, and went out and looked at this beautiful, beautiful, vast landscape with incredible views. I was looking for a spot to get a sense of an iconic idea of the landscape in the West. I was really intrigued by what the light was doing on the mountainscape. I love doing paintings that have like angles and curves, and just kind of giving you a sense of that, bringing you into the painting, walking through. And I was really intrigued by what was going on with the color and the light. The sun was starting to set, so I had to quickly set up and get my brushes out. You didn't even have the right brushes. I used these larger brushes than I usually use on a small painting, and had to quickly make my choices. And as a plein air artist, you have to make quick decisions because everything's moving, the light's moving, changing textures constantly. It's always in motion. So you're trying to capture the moment, and I try to create poetry. I try to create a painting that brings you in and draws you in, just the way I'm drawn into wanting to paint it. The quick gestures, getting that impression down is exciting for me as an artist. If you take a camera and that'll stop the motion. But here, within 1 minute, it's changing. I had to finish because the light was almost down. So it actually helped me make my decision to stop. That's always a question. And so I brought the painting in the next day and worked a little bit on it. Had to just get a little tweaking to make the painting feel just right for me. So a lot of times I'll go out and I'll paint, and maybe 10% of the painting I might do inside, just a few little accents to make a finished painting. One of my favorite things to do is to paint the motion and the textures of grasses and different flora. And I use a thinner brush stroke and do multiple layers and layers and layers, creating the idea of grasses, catching the light. I use combs, I use wide brushes, round brushes, pointed brushes, and try to get a wisp or almost like a calligraphy type of brush stroke. Very simple painting, very small painting, but sometimes those are my gems. Creating a quick little painting, more of like a sketch, but I still think of them as finished paintings. About ready to start a painting on clouds, movement of clouds that I experienced outside. And I didn't have time to do it as a plein air painting because the movement was so quick and the light was changing. So in the studio, I try to replicate that energy and the movement and the gestures. And I think about dancing, I think about trying to create the energy in my body and do more intuitive painting and not try to copy something. So here I go. My goal is to try to keep some of that yellow and not paint over all of it. How I look at painting often to start is to look at the larger shapes and then this next smaller shapes, smaller shapes, smaller shapes. So basically you're creating a puzzle. Key is create these textures, movement, and try not to get too slow and too meticulous and lose some of the beautiful brush strokes that you start from the beginning. My paintings are about a personal journey, a quest, allowing oneself to walk through pathways or riverways to get into the painting and feel like you have a presence in the painting. And so I try to create that atmosphere for myself and for the viewer.
Loretta is able to work with the paint to actually create light. She has such a deep connection to the earth as a living body. The physicality of it, the shape and the curves, the way light travels through the water, the arc of a valley, the form and the movement of the land, the patterns of a current. She speaks a universal language.